Welcome to the Silent Thinking Podcast, a space to slow down, breathe, and reconnect. Today, I'm reading From the Way of the Three-Year-Old Why by Donn. Just listen and let the stillness support you. Chapter 7, The Beginning of the Ending, Monday, June 5. So let me get this straight, Anna said. You think you have been unknowingly talking to a demigod who works as a barista in a coffee shop. She has convinced you to give up 30 years of developing a speaking practice just at the point where you could really make big bucks. You're going to go back to writing, something you really haven't been able to do for a decade because you've been too depressed. Is this a good summary? Pretty close, Dan said. I'm not sure Muse is a demigod, and she didn't convince me. She just asked questions and made observations. And I doubt I'm about to make big bucks because if you haven't noticed, nurses are getting harder and harder to find. I figure that even though I'm ready to retire from the college, I'm going to spend more time in Hope's room than on stage. Oh, and here's the big thing. I don't think I stopped writing because I was depressed. I think I was depressed because I stopped writing. But otherwise, yeah, spot on. Anna sighed. They sat across from each other at the Blissful Bean, the first time they met in the same space in over 3 months. Telephone calls and Zoom meetings work fine, but some conversations need to happen in person over steaming cups of coffee. Anna sat still for a time, looking into her cup to focus her thoughts. She took a slow sip, then said, I hate to ask, but have you told Grace about any of this? Sure, I tell her everything. Well, I haven't told her about the Greek muse thing yet. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that part. But I told her about the conversations and how they helped me figure out what truly matters to me. Not just what I think should matter. What does she think? She's waiting to see what I'm going to do with it all. Let's face it, I've had lots of different enthusiasms over the years. I can't blame her for taking a wait-and-see approach, but this isn't a new enthusiasm. It's a rekindling of what has been there all along. I don't think I'm giving up anything. I think I'm just breathing again. Plus, this doesn't mean I quit speaking. You and I both know lots of speakers who write a book to support their speaking. I'm just going to use speaking to support the books I write. That's where I'm going next. Out of the hundreds of thousands of words I've written, I've hardly ever drilled through the deep work of an entire book. I realized the whole industry has shifted since my last one. So this is like starting over again. But a lot of it feels like getting back on the bicycle after a long time away. So, what are you going to write a book about? Something to do with speaking? Dan looked at the red sketchbook on the table at his elbow. He flipped to the pages where he had been posting the insights that came out of his conversations with Kelly and the mind maps around them. He smiled, then looked up at Anna. I think I have an idea for one. He scratched through the way of three-year-old wisdom and wrote, The Way of the Three-Year-Old Why. Tuesday, June 13. Then carefully loaded the framed prints into the back of the van, propped up against Grace's wheelchair. He separated each from its neighbor with bubble wrap, leaving no chance of a shift in the load puncturing anything. Cardboard and glass protected the heavyweight paper within each, but framing them had cost a lot. Dan took no chances on damaging any of the beautiful renderings. Most of the prints began life as photos Grace had taken Icade Cow in the Great Smoky Mountains, and they would have been beautiful in raw form. Grace has an eye for this sort of thing. Dan thought they resembled nothing like the touristy shots most people took on their cell phones, though Grace's phone photos typically rivaled those taken by a pro with a Hasselblad. The prints included perfectly framed shots of the grist mill and the John Oliver cabin, as well as stunning photos of a bear and her cubs, with all three subjects looking right at the camera. Dan remembered she'd taken the shot from a prudent distance with a telephoto lens and somehow captured the perfect moment. Another featured deer wandering through one of the many graveyards in the cove, with one deer appearing to reverently read the weather-worn gravings of a child's gravestone, topped by a small lamp. A close-up of a single drop of rain dangled from the tip of a tree leaf, almost alive, as it prepared to leap to follow its fellows. Those would have been impressive enough, but Grace had used her new graphics tablet to enhance the original images, bringing some colors out brightly and muting others, emphasizing just the right line here and deepening a shadow there. I'm really nervous, Grace said, when Dan got in and started the vehicle. I've never displayed any of my art anywhere except home. I still can't believe the blissful being manager wanted to hang these. He would be crazy not to. You know how people like looking at the rotating exhibits here. Your prints will help draw people in, so people can enjoy a visual treat while enjoying a great cup of coffee. What a brilliant combination. But it's always been someone else's tours up there. Plus, the BB has always been more your place than mine. I certainly enjoy their coffee, but you have much more of a connection than I do. That doesn't matter. All I had to do was show your prints on my phone, and he was all in. Well, I'm glad. I have to admit, though, I'm not just nervous about the hanging. I'm curious about this person you're going to introduce me to. You're going to love her. Remember, she's the one who suggested I talk to Sean about your art. I guess I must have mentioned it to her. And you can also thank her for getting me to figure out where I really need to spend my time. She has a lot to do with getting me started writing again, and for getting me to spend more time with you. I'm withholding judgment on that. She smiled and arched her eyebrows. Who knows, I may tire of having you around. You'll just have to take that chance. I'm enjoying all this time, and I'm glad you're going with me to the coffee shop. They know you as well as they know me. They spent the next 3 hours carefully hanging frame prints on the walls of the Blissful Bean Coffee Haven, placing descriptive cards beside them in just the right place, straightening them to Grace's discerning eye. Dan kept watching for Kelly, but he saw no sign of her. Just as they finished, Sean came down the stairs and greeted them. Grace, these are really lovely. People are already walking around checking them out. And I saw several taking phone shots of your contact cards. I'm just amazed at the colors and the composition of your work. Grace blushed a little, but she smiled shyly. Thanks, I'm just glad Dan talked with you about it. I'm not sure I would have thought of it, except Kelly suggested I talk with you, Dan said. Where is she today, by the way? Who? Kelly. You know, she's a fairly new barista. I think she started about a month ago. Sean looked confused. I don't recognize that name, and we haven't hired anybody recently. What'd she look like? Maybe she used a different name on her paperwork. I think you would recognize her. Sort of short, a little over 5 feet. I'd say dark red hair, shoulder length. She has a Greek script tattoo on her right wrist. Sean shook his head. Doesn't ring a bell. Hey, Tanner. The young man behind the coffee counter looked up. Do we have anyone named Kelly working barista duty? Tanner looked thoughtful, shook his head. No, I don't think so. Maybe she used to work here. No, said Dan. I only saw her for the first time, maybe a month ago. In fact, I saw her in here 2 days ago. Sorry, man. I have no clue who you could be thinking of. Could it be Chelsea? She came here about 6 months ago, but you may not have noticed her. He turned toward the kitchen. Hey, Charles, got a minute? A young woman, then recognized, came out of the kitchen, drying her hands on a tea towel, wiping blonde hair from her eyes, and tucking it under a red bandana. Tell her. Their fuller figure, not Kelly. Hi, Chelsea, he said, and thanks for playing the game. But you're not who I'm thinking of. Sorry. Any chance you work back there with someone named Kelly? Not been too many people working back here with me, she said, and never anyone by that name since I've been here. Chelsea was our last hire, Sean said. We're fortunate not to have had a lot of turnover in the last year or so. So, I don't know who you might be thinking of. Whoever it was, I'm just glad you showed me Grace's pictures. Let Tanner know when you're done, and we'll treat you both to coffee. Silence hung over them for a minute after Sean left, neither sure of what to say. Finally, Dan said, I really don't know what to make of that. I mean, Kelly suggested I get you the electronic sketchpad. She's the one who told me to talk to Sean. How could he not know who she is? Grace slowly shook her head. Maybe she didn't actually work here. Maybe she was just another coffee lover who came here all the time. But she went into the kitchen. She passed tables. She even pulled coffee for me a couple of times. She had to have been working here. I don't know what to tell you, hon. I was really looking forward to meeting her. Especially after you told me. I wanted to thank her for inspiring you and for inspiring you to inspire me, but another patron came over to look at the print hanging on the wall behind them, a large print made from a photo Grace had taken in Kate's Cove in the Smoky Mountains years ago. It featured a large maple tree in the center, isolated in a field close to the cable mill. Family tradition dictated she take a photo in the same location every time they made the trip through the cove. This one, taken in the fall, showed the tree like an explosion of orange and yellow highlighted by a beam of sunlight. Grace had manipulated light and shadow to emphasize the tree while keeping the stunning mountain backdrop, and added acrylic paint embedded with carefully chosen bits of glass and aquarium gravel to bring the leaves to life. As the viewer moved around it, the leaves almost seemed to shimmer in a mountain breeze. Isn't that gorgeous? The woman said. I visited that place a dozen times, but I've never really seen it like this. The artist really has an eye. Dan smiled. The artist is right here. Grace took the original photo and then applied her talents to enhance it. Really? How nice to meet you. Do you mind sharing how you achieved that wonderful sky? Grace and the woman happily began speaking the same language of graphics, color, and light as Dan backed away to read for a while. He kept looking around, though hoping to glimpse the familiar Kelly, hoping it was all just a misunderstanding. As patrons realized Grace had made the stunning images on the wall, many stopped to talk with her about the prints and her process. They stayed until closing time, with Grace graciously basking in the appreciation, and then quietly taking it all in. He enjoyed seeing Grace in her element, but he also kept glancing toward the coffee bar and the kitchen doorway. In the occasion quiet lull, they studiously avoided talking about Kelly, and by closing time, she still had not appeared, having vanished like the mist of the great Smoky Mountains. Thank you for sharing this quiet moment with me. If this brought you peace, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video, and share it with someone who might need a little stillness too. Until next time, keep listening inward.